Just as it is impossible to put the principle of arithmetic into a single number or into all of them together, it is not actually possible to confine this alone awareness, this awareness right here, to a single finite body. The view of the universe via a possessed, imprisoned awareness is called the human experience, and it's fraught with endless perplexities. To end the perplexities, one stops believing himself a separate ego who's aware. One identifies as awareness itself. This one begins to discover himself unconfined, uncontaminated, unfettered, and free. This one begins to discover that the only awareness going on is God's awareness of being all God is. And all God is good. As time goes, some years ago, I talked to a man who said he was terribly depressed about his personal affairs. He had tried everything he knew to help himself, including psychoanalysis and drugs. Despite everything, he had fallen such a victim to despair that he could go on no longer. He told me there was nothing left but to give God a chance. He said, it's my last resort. Well, he was visibly shocked when told that God could not correct a problem, because so far as God was concerned, there was no problem to correct. He was even more shaken when informed that the only place the problem in its depression existed was in his own belief that God was some sort of a servant intended to do his personal bidding. Now, if you want to get rid of your problem, he was told, then get rid of the belief that you are a personality who could have a problem. Now, this struck him exactly as it always strikes the pompous old man with a problem, as sheer idiocy, as absolute insanity, as nothing but unadulterated escapism. But his heart began to tell him otherwise. Deep within, the still small voice whispered, "It's so, it's so, it's true. I tell you that there is a child within us, the original child of us, that knows the truth and hears it and confirms it. And we still are that very child." So the man set about as his heart told him, and he determined to forget the problem as best he could and ascertain for himself just what reality really is. Well, reality quickly excluded his despondency and his problem. It always does. Another fact that lies at the root of the world's major religions, as they were originally conceived, is the allness of God. Indeed, the allness, hence oneness of God, was the heart and soul of original Christianity before mankind began to interpret it for himself, before the separate mind rearranged things, continue a place for itself. The fact is that God, principle, is all that is. God is the only reality. God is the only power and presence. Beside God, there is nothing else at all. God is total and alone. God is one. There is not God and me. There is not God and the world, universe, heaven, hell, devil, or anything else. There is God alone. Now, mankind is willing to agree that God's sphere of influence includes the universe entire. He will even concede intellectually that God is everywhere, but he is not so ready to admit that God, fact, reality, principle, is all of all. That God is the being of existence itself. That God, or that divine principle itself as being all there is to this universe. That people and things as objects of perception are nothing in and of themselves, but God as being all there is to people and things. That the value and importance is not in the object perceived, but is in God, the reality, the fact, which is being all there is to the object and to the perception of it. I think the reason for mankind's hesitancy is obvious. If I give God all the power and glory, there's nothing left for me. If God is everything, then I must be nothing. This is self-destruction. It eliminates me. Yes, it eliminates the seeming me. It puts off the old man, the liar from the beginning. It gets rid of the me who suffers all the agonies mankind is heir to, including limitation and lack, sickness, sin, fear, loneliness, age, death. It gets rid of the me who judges everything that awareness beholds. But listen, listen, listen. It doesn't get rid of this awareness. This awareness right now that listens, that beholds. It doesn't stop the consciousness of the rose, the mountain, the little boy, or the perception of these words right here. It doesn't get rid of the awareness that is being all I am. Nor does it get rid of the objects of perception. It only eliminates the me, the distorting lens through which I see darkly. These are hard statements, says the me fighting for its existence. Well, the arithmetic illustration can make them crystal clear. Everything within the sphere of the principle of arithmetic is the principle itself. Addition and subtraction are nothing in and of themselves. They are what they are, because principle is. The numbers, the signs and symbols of arithmetic are nothing of themselves. They exist because the principle is. More correctly, principle is being all there is to addition and subtraction, digits and numbers. Anyone can readily understand that principle is the primordial substance throughout the totality of arithmetic. Well, exactly so, exactly so. God is the substance of the universe. How prone one is to look at things and attach values to them. I like this, and I do not like that. This is worth more or less than that. So far as fact is concerned, and there is nothing but fact, remember, there is no real value, power, nor importance in anything. God is the reality. God, fact, reality, truth is the value, the power, and the importance. Things are just what they are. Things, ideas, objects within awareness, but without power, really, to help or harm. Most surely this action of making your own personal discovery of God, truth, the I identity, renders an astounding experience the day it begins. Friends, you will find yourself amazed from hour to hour, even from minute to minute sometimes. Your trials and tribulations begin to fall away. What seemed an ominous, even insurmountable problem is seen eventually to be no problem at all. Health is found where sickness seemed, love where loneliness lingered, tranquility and tenderness where temptation and tears had seemed. It's somewhat like becoming aware of the perfect principle of life in which there are no mistakes at all, thereby effortlessly leaving the panic of the problems and joying in and as the consciousness of principle itself, wherein one is totally aware the answer exists. It seems a little like turning from the problem to fact, in which there is nothing to turn from nor be afraid of.